Saturday morning to everybody here from San Francisco. We're on our way to get some of the best breakfast burritos supposedly in the nation. I've actually never been to this spot, so I'm excited to try it. They call it Bodega San Francisco up in North Beach. So driverless ride across the city and a chance to talk about the 49ers. And yes, the chances at this point of making the playoffs are remote, but it is a playoff push nonetheless for the likes of Brock Purdy and others. I'm going to talk about some of those 49ers players who have been bright spots this season and some of the 49ers players who need to show more this season in the context of what they're trying to do this December. We're making our turn. We have successfully made it, and not easy sometimes. And we're going to be making another turn and moving down the side streets here in San Francisco. So, good opportunity this morning to discuss what lies ahead for the 49ers in the month of December. They have 5 games left. They are a team that is playing atrocious defense right now. The offense obviously has not been good situationally in the red zone. That's left points on the table. There has been a downstream effect of a lack of rushing efficiency relative to last year on first down. That's had compounding effects on the rest of the unit. By the way, I watched Gladiator last night. I should make a dedicated video to Gladiator 2. I was very happy with it. Wasn't as good as the first one. Gladiator 1 was a transcendent movie. Gladiator 2 was merely entertaining, but it was entertaining indeed. I did leave entertained when Maximus asked that famous question of the first one. Well, I was entertained by Gladiator 2. So we could talk about that a little bit later, maybe in the question section of this video. A little bit of a bumpy ride right here. Famous San Francisco roads haven't been fixed in a while. I guess the city doesn't have enough money, even though they collect $100 million annually on parking fines. But we'll talk about that at another time. The 49ers, with players like Purdy, we heard him talk about it yesterday in his press conference. He said this is when you find out who guys are truly made of, what guys are truly made of. The fact that the 49ers are 5-7 is a marked difference from 2022 and 2023, when this team was just ripping off win after win after win. Now you get to see how players deliver when things aren't perfectly lined up, and Brock Purdy has done a really good job this year. We talk about this a lot. Number 5 in adjusted EPA, number 7 in QBR. The tape for Brock Purdy has been creative, very solid. By creative, I mean he's been having to run around a lot. We've compared him a lot to Russell Wilson back in the Seahawks days with some of the style of play that he's had to deliver. If anything, the 49ers are more sure now that Brock Purdy is their guy than ever before, because he's shown that he can be an efficient quarterback in so many different ways. But it's so important that the team around him develops some sort of continuity, complementary cohesion over the month of December, so that the 49ers can have some sense of confidence entering the offseason. It's going to be a really busy offseason. About their process, about their general structure. I always say that, injuries can be a reason that you lose games, and a lack of personnel can be a reason that you lose games in the NFL, but it should never be the reason to not be competitive, because there's enough good, talented football players out there that if they're playing with the requisite effort and if they're playing with the requisite teamwork, they should be able to hold you competitive. And the best way to measure that is run defense, especially on the defensive side of the ball. If a team is playing poor run defense, that means that there's a whole lot more wrong than just a lack of star power talent. The 2018 49ers didn't have a lot of star power, by the way. This is a great example, I think. And while they didn't have a lot of star power, look, the trolley's about to pass us, but we're about to turn. Oh, no, we can't see the trolley anymore. That would have been fun. So the 2018 49ers were the number 11 run defense by EPA in the league. That was before Nick Bosa That was, before they signed D Ford that offseason, or they traded with the Chiefs and then signed D Ford. It was before they had a legitimate stockpile of talent, and they still were able to be the number 11 run defense. Now, they suffered in pass defense because they didn't have the talent to rush the passer. Their best player in the secondary was probably Richard Sherman that year after they signed him for the Seahawks, and he was still coming back off the Achilles. Look, Hayes Valley, SF Jazz Center. Nice turn. Good job, Casper. What are we going to do? Van Ness? I think, yeah, we're going to do Van Ness on our way up to North Beach. But they were still competitive against the run in 2018. Over the past 2 weeks, the 49ers have not been competitive against the run. They've gotten bowled over. And ever since Nick Bosa has left the lineup, they've gotten bowled over. There's a serious structural problem when you're getting bowled over in the run game in the NFL, regardless of who you're missing. I've seen teams throw together ragtag units against the 49ers defensively and still be able to make San Francisco work, be competitive in that regard. So I would like to see some of that competitiveness over the course of the final month of the regular season on the defensive side of the ball, even if Nick Bosa doesn't play tomorrow. And they're facing a Bears team and a quarterback that's been sacked so many times this year in Caleb Williams tomorrow. 49 sacks, the most in the NFL. He's held on to the ball too long. A lot of problems with the way that Caleb Williams has been playing. This is a game where the 49ers defense needs to actually show a pulse. And one of the people that I put in the title was Evan Anderson, because he's one of the players who has shown a pulse for the 49ers on the defensive side of the ball. Defensive tackle out of Florida Atlantic, undrafted free agent, started on the practice squad for the 49ers, but earned his 53-man promotion. There's San Francisco City Hall, looking nice. It's a beautiful Saturday, by the way. These are all the performing arts buildings on Van Ness, and City Hall is right there. Beautiful. Trying to turn off. There we go. Wanted to turn off Wi-Fi. We'll go back here. So Evan Anderson has been, I think, a bright spot for the 49ers on the inside. And his ability, that's the one area where the 49ers have gotten a decent performance against the run is on the interior. It's funny because at the start of the year, it was the interior that was, I think, a little bit more of the issue. Now, they're not getting good tackling from the back seven. I don't think they're setting solid edges with the front four, but they do have a little bit of something to build off of on the inside. And they've been looking for a strong defensive tackle, kind of the bowling ball, fire hydrant type for a while. And I think that Evan Anderson is an intriguing prospect in that regard. So build around that over the last few games. Offensively, somebody like Ricky Pearsall is an obvious but very necessary talking point. Ricky looked so good. I thought first against the Cowboys, remember that play where Brock Purdy threw the out pattern to Ricky Pearsall well before he came out of his break, so the football was waiting for him. I mean, they hadn't had a chance to rep that all too much, just given the fact that Ricky was fairly freshly back in the lineup. But it looked like the chemistry with Brock Purdy was exactly where you'd want it to be. Then later against the Cowboys, they ran that accidental jet sweep. It was supposed to go to Jacob Cowing, but Cowing and Pearsall lined up on the wrong side of the field, like they flipped the way that it was supposed to be. Yet Pearsall had the wherewithal, and I think Chris Conley helped out, the veteran. He said, hey, you better take this jet sweep. This is going your way. Pearsall had never repped that play in practice, and he sprinted for a 30-plus yard gain. Helped seal the game against the Dallas Cowboys. Fast forward past the bye week, catches the touchdown on, 39 yards against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then on the final drive of the game, Ricky Pearsall is trusted enough again by Brock Purdy to be one of his anticipatory reads. So it was full speed ahead for Ricky Pearsall at that point, and that was going to be really important for the 49ers to survive this season offensively without Brandon Ayuk. You got to have a guy beating man coverage. You have to have a guy that's on good cohesion with Brock Purdy, and everything was going well, but he hasn't notched a catch over the past 3 games. Kyle Shanahan revealed this week that Ricky Pearsall was beaten up in the game against the Packers. He looked really good as a punt returner, by the way, in that game, because they didn't have Jacob Cowing due to the concussion in that game. So apparently Pearsall was beaten up in the game against the Packers. That was coming off of just a really tough game for the 49ers against the Seahawks. That might have been a Brock Purdy shoulder injury game against Seattle. At some point during that game, Brock Purdy hurt his shoulder, and they really had to strain through that. But nothing for Pearsall in either of those two games. And then he had the snow game last week. So everybody gets it. Snow game is, or not everybody, but most people who watch football understand that it's hard to perform the pass offense in a blizzard. So we're not going to use the snow game as any sort of indication that Ricky Pearsall is going to flame out for the 49ers this season. But moving forward over the course of this month, it's extremely important for Ricky Pearsall to show the type of visibility. He's got to be visible in the offense that he did in games like the Dallas game, in games like the Tampa Bay game, where he was actually a bona fide force for the 49ers. Look, we just turned down Post Street, so that means we could look all the way to the Salesforce Tower. That's neat. The Salesforce Tower is the tallest building on the West Coast. It was built in San Francisco. I think it's been about 10 years now. You could see it from every single corner of the city. And especially when you're driving down Post Street, you've got the angle that is headed directly toward that building. We should be turning left at some point soon, but pretty neat view, right? So tomorrow the weather's going to be 66. It's going to be sunny. You could see that we've got good weather here in the Bay Area. We do have bumpy roads in the Bay Area as well, so I apologize for that. No real image stabilizer here, but at least I can give you guys a brand new shot as we drive down the street. But the weather's going to be good. It's not going to be a snow game anymore for the 49ers. It's going to be an opportunity for this team to show what the pass offense can look like with somebody like Ricky Pearsall, with obviously Purdy operating, I would hope, at a level that includes more gimmies from Kyle Shanahan. The big thing that I talk about with the 49ers offense this year is the degree of difficulty that Shanahan has put Purdy through. It's not all Kyle Shanahan's fault. I think Brandon Ayuk missing training camp and then Christian McCaffrey missing a lot of the season has compromised the spacing, has compromised the confidence of the play calling. I mean, there are so many different things that we could look at as we continue downtown here in San Francisco. There's so many different things that we could look at with the 49ers and the offensive problems, but the bottom line is that stylistically, they're just not in the same place that they were last year, operating with the type of space that they were last year. So it's going to be fascinating to see how they approach this last month as far as trying to get some of the rhythm and some of the success play calling and schematically back that they didn't have before. And obviously Ricky Pearsall can potentially be a major beneficiary of that. We're going crazy here, by the way. We're starting to pass cars. I think now we're in the right turn lane, which I don't understand. I'm trying to go the other direction, but I guess we're going to be turning right. Sure. I'm trying to get to North Beach. I think this thing mistook my destination, so we may be getting out a little bit sooner than I thought. Yeah, where the hell are we going? Sometimes the driverless car surprises you. I told it I wanted to go to Bodega, and I think that we're going downtown instead. We'll see where it takes us. This is fun. Little scavenger hunt in San Francisco. May have to do a second driverless ride to get to where I'm actually going. I'm trying to head to these great breakfast burritos, and they close at 12:30. So if I don't hurry, then I'm going to miss out on these breakfast burritos, and I'm going to turn hangry at some point. Is Iowa State losing to Arizona State? The fighting Brock Purdy's losing to the fighting Brandon Ayuk's? There's a bodega downtown? Oh, no. So I typed in the wrong one. I was wondering why we were going downtown. Well, I'm going to have to order a new ride then. Anyway, Brock Purdy has been good for the 49ers. Used this last month as a leadership opportunity. They're still faintly alive in the playoff race. So he's got to be part of that effort, and he's got to find a way to get Ricky Pearsall more involved. He's got to do that alongside Kyle Shanahan, because I think that's going to be a big 49ers thing moving forward. I don't know what they're going to do with Deebo Samuel over the offseason. I don't know how they're going to construct the offense. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how they decide to spend offensively moving forward. But we do know that Ricky Pearsall is a first-round pick, is going to be a key member of how the 49ers do things. So they would like to see him build some confidence. And then defensively, show a pulse. Evan Anderson has shown a pulse. So we'll see if the 49ers can follow suit over the course of this last month. We're here. I got to get going. I got to get on one of these rides because I screwed this up. I put in the wrong destination. So I'll talk to you guys very soon.